Hi, hello everyone, good afternoon. My name is Rolando. I'm the Sunset Lake Public Health Coordinator, and I'm going to be today presenting you how to transform your leftovers. Also, quick message, don't forget to fill out our survey so that you let us know if you're liking our product or the videos that we're putting out, and if we do have to make changes. I do apologize, it's my first time using my cell phone and tripod in the kitchen, so it's a little bit uncomfortable. I'm still trying to figure out how to properly place it, so if you do see it cuts me off a little bit, what's important is what I'm going to show you. So I have here some leftover steak. This morning earlier I sliced it down into thin strips, because what I'm going to do is I decided I'm going to transform it into a almost somewhat close to a traditional or typical Puerto Rican sandwich, which we call bistec with cebolla sandwich. I don't have the Swiss cheese, which it normally has. I do have some leftover cheddar, so I'm going to use cheddar cheese. I have sliced onions from some leftover onions that I had from the week ago, and I have the steak. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start, let me just first reposition the camera, and then I'm hoping you can all see the pan right there. Okay, so if you can see the pan, I'm hoping that you can. I'm gonna now take the pan, I'm gonna turn on the heat, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually saute. First I want this to warm up a little bit, and then I'm gonna add some olive oil, just a little bit, not too much, so that I can saute the onions. And the olive oil is gonna be my main fat for this. I'm not gonna add any butter or anything, even to the bread that I'm gonna use. I'm not gonna toast it with anything except with the heat itself. So that's heating up a bit. I have my onions. I also do have one garlic. By the way, I did pre-wash my hands before I started this video. I don't know how much, if time's gonna be wise, because I do plan on making another dish with some leftover rice that I have. So I'm gonna add the garlic, and I'm gonna use some silicone tip tongs. Most people don't use this, since everyone, I don't know how many people have these at home, but you can use a regular spatula or whatever you want. I'm just gonna start moving the garlic around. I want the garlic to start cooking, start liberating some of that smell, some of its taste, for when I add the onions and the meat. Okay. So I'm lowering the heat down as much as I can. It got really, really hot. I don't want to make too much of a mess or splatter. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my onions. I'm going to add my onions. Now you can add more or less onions. I'm going to add all of what's in here. I do like plenty of onion. When I'm cooking and eating, I do like my foods to have plenty of onions. It gives us a nice sweet taste. Also, onions are really high on antioxidants. The antioxidant that they're high on is called anthocyanins. So these antioxidants are white in color. They're very healthy for you. So using onions, plenty of onions, and cooking with them, it's also very healthy for you. Again, the fat that I am using is olive oil, so it's a healthy fat. It's high in omega-3s, so it's very high on anti-inflammatory effects. So it's a very healthy fat. And we're just gonna move our onions around a little bit until they start to wilt, turn translucent on the borders and the edges. We're not gonna caramelize them, because that would take too long. We don't have that long. You just want to move them along so they are almost fully translucent, and this way when you bite them, they don't have that much of a kick to them, and they're a lot easier to eat. Now, if you want to accelerate the cooking process, something that you can do, in the same bowl where I had the onion, I'm going to place some water. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of water to the onions. I'm going to cover them And I'm gonna raise the heat up a little bit so that the onions steam. This is gonna also help accelerate with the cooking, and it's gonna help us get them wilted faster so that we can then add the meat. The meat that I am using is a leftover prime rib steak that I had cooked some time ago. The reason I still have some leftover steak is because I make multiple dishes for the week for work. So usually I always have something that's left over for the next week, and what I'll do is I'll recook it with a different sauce or inside of something, or I'll add it as a part of another dish. So as we can see, our onion has begun to pretty much just wilt. It's really soft now, very tender. I am not adding anything else with regards to seasonings, because what I really just want to do is cook down the salt. It's cook down the onion and some of that garlic flavor. The steak was already seasoned because it's a leftover steak, so I don't really need to add any more seasoning to it. And again, I'm just letting the onions cook down. So depending on how cooked down you like your onions, you can stop right here. And at this moment, what you can do is you can add your meat. So I have my meat right here on a separate bowl. As you can see, it's already pre-sliced. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a few slices. They still have a little bit of fat from the steak, and that's fine. That's gonna add some flavor to it. It's really not a lot of fat because I did remove most of the fat. This is really useful because if you don't have the time to be constantly grocery shopping and you usually always buy the same foods and ingredients, then transforming something that you had left over from the day or the week before is really nice, because you're not going to have, it's going to be like you created a brand new dish. So it's going to be completely different in regards to taste. It's still the same meat, it's still more or less the same ingredients we normally use to cook, but it's going to have a different taste profile. And that's what's important. As you can see, some of the onions have been slowly caramelizing. They've taken some, not caramelized, they've taken some color. These aren't fully caramelized onions. Again, fully caramelizing onions would take really, really long. This is just, they just took a little bit of color. So I'm moving this along with the meat, and oops, it seems we have a few stragglers. That's fine, you can add those back in. The heat's gonna kill whatever bacteria or anything, since I actually disinfected my whole stove just before the video. So it's all super nice and clean. There's no risk of bacteria or viruses here. Okay, so this is pretty much ready to go. I don't need any more sauces. I don't need anything else. So I'm just gonna let this go like that. I'm gonna now turn off the heat. I'm gonna cover it, and I'm gonna put it to the side, because now we're gonna work on our second dish for today. That we're going to transfer. That's gonna be, we're gonna use some of the leftover beef that I still have, but we're also gonna use leftover rice. So this is rice that I made last weekend, and I'm gonna make new rice, and I'm gonna transform it and give it a little bit of flavor. So the reason I'm putting this aside is because I want everything to finish reaching temperature. So this is to the side so that it reaches the temperature. And what I'm gonna do now is I turn this on, it's heating up, and I have here the leftover rice. I'm gonna add a little bit more olive oil, not too much. That's around about 1 tablespoon and a half of oil, just enough to lightly cover the pan. As we can see, we just want to make sure that nothing sticks and burns. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to make beef fried rice. It's gonna be my take on beef fried rice. Some of the ingredients are gonna be a little bit different from typical fried rice, simply because I don't have soy sauce. I do have a different sauce. It's an different Asian sauce. So I have here about a cup and a half of Cubanelle peppers. I diced these early in the morning as well. I did all my meal prep in the morning for this video, and this is something that you can do any day that you're gonna cook. Just have everything ready the day before, or even like if you plan on cooking later in the afternoon, you can cut and dice everything in the morning, and then in the afternoon when it's time to cook, it's just a matter of taking it out of your refrigerator, and it's good to go. It's already diced, it's already cut up. All you have to do is add it to your pan and let it start cooking. So I'm gonna let these saute for a little bit. Normally I don't use the same instruments. I kind of forgot, so don't do that. I have this separate spatula that I'm gonna use. So the reason I'm gonna use the spatula is because this is fried rice, and I am gonna have to use some egg, so it's easier to control the egg with the spatula. Now I have here in the bag some diced onion. This came from the same onion that the sliced onion came, so it was a pretty large onion. So I'm gonna add that to it, and then this Ziploc bag, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna close it up. I'm gonna put it so that I'm gonna put it away so that I can wash it later. Now I add my onion. I'm gonna keep letting that saute for a few more minutes. I want the onion to start to not to caramelize, but to start to cook down before I continue doing or adding anything else. So just take a few moments to let it cook down. One second, I'm trying to click because I don't see. Okay. So I'm just gonna let it continue to cook down until it's translucent, or you start seeing some color or some browning around the edges of any of the vegetables, whether it's the peppers or the onions. If you do start seeing some browning, that's a good time to lower your temperature a bit more. See, I have some browning here, so just lower the temperature a little bit more. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover it. And while that is covered, I'm going to take my eggs and I'm going to, in a separate bowl, crack them. And then I'm going to open this. I'm going to do one at a time. One. And two. Now I'm not worried too much about the bottom plastic lid getting dirty with the egg yolk, or to be precise, any egg, because I am going to wash this immediately after this video. If the egg decides to help, oh well. I don't really want to lose that much, but it doesn't want to come out, so away. And now I'm gonna throw that in there. So I'm gonna really quick put this away, and I'm gonna wash my hands again. I use warm water when I wash my hands, because the warm water is actually gonna help also with the cleaning and the disinfecting of my hands. It doesn't have to be boiling hot, just warm to the touch. It's going to help clean up a lot better and make sure to clean knuckles and fingers. Okay, paper towels. There you go. And now I'm going to start to scramble my egg. Again, this is my take on a fried rice. And it's a really easy, quick, fast take on fried rice. Also, the traditional fried rice is made with old rice. It's not made with fresh rice that you made today. It's made with old leftover rice. Okay. So now it looks pretty dry. So now I'm gonna go ahead and add the rest of our beef, which I have here. I'm gonna add all of it. It's got a little bit of fat, but that's fine. Just gonna make sure, see, it's got meat on the other side, so most of the fat has been taken out, and what does have some fat is very little. It's not a lot. Oops. You know, looks like this fat came off a piece of meat, so I'm just gonna take that out, so we don't have to use that. We just want this all to start cooking, heat up, and then as this is heating up, I'm gonna take our rice. I'm gonna also add our rice in. I'm gonna put now this lid off. Away. Wash my hands again. Again, warm water, plenty of soap. Wash all the way up to your wrist, maybe higher. Make sure we get all that nice and clean. Then with a paper towel, we're going to dry ourselves up, and we're going to throw that paper towel away. It's okay if your hands are still a little bit wet. It happens. They're not kind of hard to always dry everything else perfectly. So I'm going to add some of that leftover water to steam the rice and everything so it all comes together faster. So in order for this to become fried rice, most of the time you need soy sauce. So I don't have actually any soy sauce with me right now. Or to be precise, I usually don't buy any soy sauce. So this is why I said this is my version of it. What I'm gonna do is, as this is cooking up, I am going to add Korean barbecue sauce. So this is Korean barbecue sauce. It's got a nice taste to it. It tastes almost like barbecue sauce, really. But you do feel a little bit of soy, and you do get a little bit of taste from a fermented seasoning that they use. So it goes really nice. So that's around a tablespoon's worth of it. That's really all you need. It's gonna give a light taste to it, but it's gonna be very nice. It's gonna be very noticeable. So as you can see, it's all got its color, and it's all coming together. I'm gonna add a little bit of salt simply because we do have a lot of fresh vegetables, so some green bell pepper, some green Cuban peppers, and some onion. I do want, and I also don't want just the raw taste of vegetable and the sauce and everything to be dominating. I want it to be balanced. So a little bit of salt is gonna help with that. You wanna make sure it's seasoned, but not overly seasoned. Okay. So this is pretty much done. As you can see, it's all come together. The beef is cooked. Everything else is cooked. The eggs. You can add more vegetables to this. You can add peas. You can add corn. You can add a different type of meat. You can do chicken if you wanted to. But this is what I'm doing. I'm taking leftovers. I'm taking leftover steak, leftover vegetables that I had. The eggs are not so much leftover, but you know, fried rice without egg isn't fried rice. And I'm taking the leftover hot Korean barbecue sauce and rice and everything, mixing it together, and I have my own version of fried rice. And I'm gonna turn it off. I'm gonna plate. So to plate, I'm gonna use, there's a lot of different ways that you can actually plate your rice. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna really quickly wash the bowl where I cracked the eggs. And I'm gonna serve it there. Okay. So This is a little bit uncomfortable, so I'm gonna serve. I'm gonna grab a spoon. Here we go. Spoon. I'm just gonna serve it. So for servings, this should be plenty for a normal serving. This is around. This is a little bit over a third of a cup. I did half a cup of rice actually. There's around half a cup of rice here. The serving should be around a third of a cup. I tried to measure it out by eye, but I kind of did it a little bit over. But there you have some rice, your fried rice. I'm just gonna take it all out of here because I don't want it to continue cooking and then dry up. Then what I'll do is I'll take this bowl. I'll take it from this bowl, which is porcelain, which is gonna help cool it down. I'm gonna put this bowl right into the refrigerator because I want this to cool down to put it away for tomorrow, because this is gonna be my lunch for tomorrow. So I'm kind of also meal prepping while I'm transforming these leftovers. Still have a little bit. I've been told and I've been taught, leave as little as possible as you can in the pan. So there you go, beef fried rice. So now we're gonna deal with the sandwich. So for the sandwich, I actually have some bread, and I'm not gonna toast it. I'm not like most people. I actually don't always like bread toasted for sandwiches, and usually when I'm gonna eat a hot sandwich at home that I make at home, I don't toast the bread. And I have here some bread. This is like an Italian bread, very rustic, simple Italian. And I'm just gonna put it on top of the lid because I need to get a plate. I tried to prep everything before, but there's not a lot of room in the kitchen, so I'm doing the best I can. Maybe next time I'll prep a little table so that it's easier. Okay, everyone. So here's my plate. I'm gonna take my bread and here's my tongues. I'm gonna grab some of that beef. You can see it's smoking hot. I'm also gonna get some of that onion. Make sure I get some of that onion. I'm gonna get some of that sweetness of the onion, not just the beef flavor. And now all I need to do is add the cheese. So you can add cheese, any cheese you want. Typically the sandwich has a Swiss cheese. Again, this is an adaptation. I don't have all the ingredients, and I wasn't gonna go grocery shopping for the ingredients. Otherwise it wouldn't be leftover transformation, it'd be in making a sandwich, a Puerto Rican sandwich from scratch. This, on the other hand, is with the purpose of taking something that I had already cooked previously, I got tired of the taste, and making it into something new. And there you go. Here you go. There's our sandwich. Piled cheese, plenty of meat and onions, and simple white bread. These are things that you can do at home. Honestly, you can do anything at home. You can make a sandwich with any meat that you have left over. You can make a sandwich with any meat, whether it's chicken, turkey. This is something very simple you can do. Cut it up, put it in the pan, onion, garlic, a little bit of oil. Let it mix together the flavors and put it in whatever bread you want. For fried rice, it's a little bit more complicated, but again, it's really simple because you're using old rice. If you have any leftover meat, you can add any leftover meat to it. You don't need to add soy sauce. You can just do like the white rice with the vegetables. Maybe add some tomato. That's gonna give it some red coloring to it, and it's gonna make it look more fried rice than it actually is. Again, these are all adaptations and simple ways to transform a recipe. Other ways that you can do it is simply just cook them into something else. If you have leftover beans, you're making ground beef, add the beans to it. It's almost like making a chili. If you have soup and you have leftover pieces of chicken breast or chicken thighs that you cooked a few days ago or roasted, you can use those into your soup as well. You're reusing those leftovers, you're reducing waste, and that's probably food that's not gonna go into the trash can because you forgot about it, or you don't like the taste anymore, you don't want to eat it, and then you leave it in the refrigerator for so long that you have to throw it away a few days later. I hope you all enjoyed this. This is just the first one. I am going to continue to making these videos. I have some recipe videos coming up in November and December, and I hope everyone else likes these videos for that time. Thank you all for coming. Don't forget to fill up the survey at the top of the description of the video. That's very important for us. Lets us know how we're doing. Lets us know what you would like us to do differently, and it lets us know what we can do to improve this experience for you all. Hopefully the next time I do recipes, I'll be able to better set up. I'll have better ways for you to see it, because I do want you to see what I did from start to finish and not just what I did halfway through. Alright, well, thank you for coming, thank you for watching, and have a great day.